Welcome back for another video. A rare clean sweep from my backline last gaming. I had Raya, Colwell, Trent Munoz and Gabriel all returning. 74 points all out, which took me up to 15k overall. I mean, I would have taken a 6-pointer from Colwell against Southampton, so I absolutely lost it after he scored in Chelsea's 4-0 win. Palmer with a blank though, of course. 1.4 XGI was the third highest of the game week after Salah and Haaland. In the end, only 3 points lost as Salah ended up on 6 points, which was a massive relief to be honest with you. It was a lucky game week admittedly. Isak missing out meant Gabriel auto subbed on for me. So that -4 taken for Gabriel last game week already repaid. And I've now got Gabriel instead of Greaves for blank Gameweek 29. Kluivert with another worldie of a goal and he scooped up all 3 bonus points and he's joined team of the season as well now after that 10-pointer. And lastly, Wisser on the score sheet was great as well, making it 2-2 for him. Let's have a look at your highs and lows sent in from last game week and then we'll get onto the team for next game week. Josh first, who said, first time playing Colwell since Game Week 19 and he comes in clutch, up to 3k. Yeah, Josh beat me, he got 77 points all out and he got returns from 9 of his 11 players and even had a couple of returns on his bench as well. Really nice team. FPL Stan hit an 89-point game week. Peak FPL as well to have 10 of your 11 players returning for you, except for the one player captained, Palmer. I'm sure he's not going to mind though, being at 1.9k overall after that score. Manek said, I had Hall on the bench, who also subbed on for Isak of course, and now Newcastle have just announced Hall's out injured for the rest of the season. 41 points Manek's got. Cunha also picking up that 3-match suspension in the FA Cup, and Gordon as well in fact, absolutely brutal. I really do think in FPL when it rains it pours. The lowest score in the top 10k was 31. This one's significantly more brutal as they had the assistant manager active and Postecoglou as well, who came away with 0 points, and blanks from Pickford, 8 Norrie, Collins, Dango, Palmer, Gakpo and Delap as well. Alright, last one, and this one was another assistant manager team actually. Rena says, Glasner, I love you. They finished on 102 points, a game week rank of 349th in the world. 102 points. Glasner with his second 20-pointer in a row. Absolutely crazy score. Fair play. Thanks everyone that sent in. Let's move on to the team and try out some plans for the next game week. It does feel like the calm before the storm with the blank game week looming where we're going to see tons of hits and loads of chips active. Starting off in goal where it's going to be Raya playing away at Old Trafford next game week. Arsenal going to be visiting high on confidence after that 7-1 win away against PSV in the Champions League. That's actually their highest ever away win in Europe in fact. Arsenal have been given a 42% chance of a clean sheet for this one, which is very good for an away game at Old Trafford. Can he make it 4 clean sheets in his last 6 league games? In defence, it's Munoz, Trent and Colwell. That 14-point haul at 3% ownership was a dream haul from Colwell, and it's another great fixture for him, home to Leicester. Pulling up the clean sheet odds then for Gameweek 28, they're second this week. It's Liverpool who are top with exactly 50% and then Chelsea 47%. There's a few more games in Europe to be played before next game week, so if you're looking at making a transfer, wait until after that if you can, including Chelsea who play away to Copenhagen Thursday evening. So Palace were third on the clean sheet odds, home to Ipswich, and it's a very rare game week where my defence is the top 3, or actually top 4 including Raya, and the back 3 all playing promoted teams as well, Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester. No defender's got more points than Munoz over the last 6 game weeks, besides Trent, who's had 2 double game weeks, so 2 extra games played. 6.03 XGI over the entire season for Munoz, only Vardy and Trent have got higher. So yeah, he's a lock in the team for double game week 32. I think Mateta's definitely going to be in there as well if he's back by then from the injury, but I'm not sure about the third one yet. Has anyone given it much thought yet? I mean, Hall would have been a lock as well, but he's out for the season now. And lastly, Trent. Just need him to get past 60 minutes and hopefully have not conceded by then to lock in the clean sheet. Gomez and Bradley still injured, so I think he's getting played more than Slot would want to be playing him right now. It's a perfect fixture for Liverpool ahead of that League Cup final. I mean, he can afford to rotate a few players and bring some others off early if he needs to. It's not out of the question for Quansah to start in right back in honesty, which is a concern for me. Liverpool are more than capable of beating Southampton at Anfield with the likes of Quansah, Tsimikas and some other rotation players starting. Hopefully, if anything, it's Quansah who comes in at centre-back for Konate. I'll be keeping my ears to the ground during the deadline stream on Saturday, just in case there's any early team news or leaks. Moving on to the midfield, which is Semenyo and Bumo, Salah, Palmer and Kluivert. Another huge night in Europe for Villa as well, who beat Club Brugge 3-1 away. It's not a formality in the second leg just yet, but they will be big favourites to progress now. I really fancy this fixture for Brentford next though, given that Villa are juggling the Champions League either side of this one, and Brentford getting a full rest as well, extra recovery, and they're playing at home. Obviously Mbumo's got that little star by him because he's in the team of the season. How many team of the season players has everyone got out of interest? So the highest scoring team is Sells, Trent, Aina, Gabriel, Salah, Palmer, Mbumo, Kluivert, Wood, Isak and Haaland. I'm sitting on 7 out of 11, which seems pretty good. With the return of Evan Nilsson from injury a bit earlier than expected, I feel like I've got the right double up with Semenyo and Kluivert. Not that Semenyo's done much lately, with 1 assist in his last 4 games. 12 returns this season though, which is as many as he managed last year. Spurs another team that could be putting a lot of priority on Europe. That was the impression I got from that lineup against Man City last game week, with Son, Spence and Kulusevski among those named on the bench. So hopefully that plays into Bournemouth's hands, especially if someone doubled up on them. So, Palmer vice-captain. I do honestly think he's a sound captain choice again. As I said earlier, he had the 3rd highest XGI of last game week, about 3 times Salah's XGI. I mean, those of you that use my app will have seen on the captaincy widget, they're dead even for their rating as well. It is one to consider if you're chasing rank or mini-league at this stage. That said, it could be the last game week for a while that actually captains Salah, because game week 29 he blanks of course. Game week 30 I'll have Haaland home to Leicester, so that's going to be quite tempting. Maybe in game week 31 he'll be my captain away against Fulham. But game week 32 it's going to be Isak in the double, and then of course there'll be someone who doubles in 33. So yeah, there's going to be other opportunities to take Salah on if you don't fancy it this week. I mean, after all, it's an unbelievable fixture. And even if Salah does get reduced minutes, he can do the damage in an hour. Up front, it's Wissa and Isak. So yeah, Isak's flag's been removed. Hal said it was just general tightness with Alex. I don't think there's a problem. I said before the game, if he was fit, he would play. Fingers crossed he's okay. So with that in mind, I feel like I have to start him, even if there's a chance of an early sub ahead of the League Cup final. I mean, Wilson does surely come on for the final 20 or so minutes. They're away against West Ham as well. It's a pretty good fixture. West Ham given just a 22% chance of a clean sheet. Gordon's going to be a huge miss for their next 3 though, especially in the cup final. Newcastle aren't appealing the suspension either. I mentioned Haaland captain potentially in game week 30, so the plan is to buy him before that game week 29 since he doesn't blank. But the tricky part is, who do I sell for Haaland? Isak blanks of course, but I'm going to want him straight back in my team with nice fixtures the other side of the blank, plus that double in 32. I bought Isak 8.6 mil, and he's 9.4 mil now, so there's quite a lot of team value tied up to lose there. Therefore it might actually be Wissa that I sell, so it could be his last week in the team. If Isak keeps falling in price, then I might be swayed into selling him though, as long as I can still afford the wildcard team that I want later. It's a stacked bench this week: Fabianski, Strand Larsen, Gabriel and Tarkowski. That Cunha suspension actually could be incredibly fortunate as a Strand Larsen owner. He's been on the bench in his last 2 games since returning from injury for Wolves, but he's got to have a good chance of starting now, which is exactly what I'm going to need in game week 29 when they've got Southampton. This week he'll be first on my bench, but also home against Everton. Is it the right call though to put Strand Larsen ahead of Gabriel this game week? So in terms of transfer plans for this game week and the blank, first of all, rolling this week is completely obvious. There's no transfers worth making here. So rolling is going to take me up to 3 free transfers to spend in blank game week 29. And my new plan as it stands is Wissa to Haaland, Palmer to Elanga and then Trent to Vardiol. This isn't the most aggressive strategy, but I feel like it's a nicely balanced approach in the sense that it gets me Haaland captain and I can keep Salah and Isak. I can still get Man City defence in, plus I've got that route into the Forest attack. Now, Wood's ownership is going to be frighteningly high after that Cunha suspension and Matessa's injury actually, so Elanga does give me a player in that Ipswich fixture next week. If I sell Isak instead, then I can afford Gibbs White, who I'd like to have even more if I could. He's on 5 goals, 8 assists this season, so he's on as many goals as his last 2 seasons, with 11 games to play still. I'd be sacrificing 0.4 mil team value though, maybe less if Isak drops a bit. So that's the team and the plans for the next couple of game weeks currently. I've got a really helpful experts video lined up tomorrow covering all the doubles and blanks, chip strategy plus all the usual, so make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already so you don't miss out. See you soon for the next one.